Morning. Good morning. Welcome. This is meditation. We are jamming here, both live and streaming out to YouTube. Oh, we are. This is for a couple of peeps out there in my community. Some of you that I just absolutely love and have so much awe and inspiration of for the ways in which you nav the field and the ups and downs and the hurdles and the challenges, because ultimately that is what we are here doing in this world, right? Especially as star seeds, as light beings, learning how to navigate this field, navigate this matrix, navigate this world from an energetic perspective. And there is no doubt that it takes direct hits. This energy body of ours takes direct hits, and some of it, sometimes, as much as we try to plan and anticipate that it'll go smoothly, no matter how much grace we hold and maintain through the ups and downs, let's be real, we're calling in some really big, potent stuff. We are calling in some incredible, incredible magic. And we're learning how to run a field of energy outside of the matrix, right? But within it, like, or our own field of energy autonomously within the matrix, because we have to engage in the matrix. And so there's always going to be those elements, those pieces, what actually, even if they are seen, a lot of times they are unseen, but even if they are seen, can just pop up out of the blue, and and we're in it, right? We've got to navigate and deal with the triggers and deal with the challenges, and we know that once we get to the other side of them, that we're going to be brilliant. But in the interim is this big wobble that happens, and so that's what we're here to deal with today, because ultimately, if you've shown up here, you're on your path, you're doing something really incredible, really powerful, definitely in service, definitely walking in the light, and as a light being, a light agent, delivering something on behalf of God, the gods, whatever your construct is, the universe, right? Wherever those beliefs and faith fall for you. So we're going to mechanic today, because ultimately, when we're running our own field, that is huge rocket fuel that we are tapping into. And so to just give us a construct when the chaos happens, so we're constantly holding a field of miracles. The more we come away from our human consciousness way of needing to control and hold things secure, we come off of linear, we come out of the field of probability. And as we're reaching for the stars, as we're reaching or magnetizing, drawing in some of these big visions that we have, stepping into our potential, holding our power, it's like that power is going to create interruption as we move through the field. And sometimes that interruption is going to cause a big wobble. The best analogy I have for this is in talking with one of my peeps yesterday. It's like, okay, cool. You just had some major, major thing happen, life altering, doors closing. Life won't be the same again after this point tomorrow, but you just dropped your boosters, right? And that's really astrologically where we're at. That is, if you look at the incredible, incredible energy we're getting off of the solar flares that have been coming through and are now, we're through it. We're still getting them, but like we're still absorbing a lot of what was coming in at the beginning of October. And so that is massive shift in frequency. So as this shift, as we are directing our energy to move over to being our own rocket fuel without the boosters being those other people in our lives, maybe they should be there. Maybe it's time to drop them. Either way, as we start to engage our own power, and then we feel the Earth's power shifting, right? The Earth's Schumann resonance, all of the energy, the ionic charge in the field is enhancing and increasing. This becomes so much for us to deal with. And in the process of it, as that energetic shift is occurring inside, it knocks things loose inside of our system. right? It's like, boom, you want this and you're going on this path. Because remember, all it takes is for us to be 1 degree off of the mark. And when we start to extrapolate that 1 degree out, look at where we end up. Totally different location, right? So if there's something in here, if there's just the tiniest little tweak that can happen, let's deal with it now. And in the moment, it may feel cataclysmic, right? It may feel like, but really what's happening is we are just being served, right? Because when we are so deeply aligned with our purpose, with the vision we have for what it is we want to create, I call it knowing it bone deep. Those of you that have been with me, you know, I say just salmon it. There's this incredible story about, not going to go into it now, but you just get to like have that faith. It's the thing you know to be true about you that you've known your whole life when you reflect on it. And when we're dealing with those sorts of things, the only thing it doesn't mean we're not going to get to that destination, but these adjustments and recalibrations are going to happen so we don't have to go out and around and come back to it. So that's what we're up to today. We are going to tap into that primary fuel, release the wobble that happens when we drop those boosters, right? When the interrupts in the field happen. Because, okay, so to speak directly about the energy body, I said it happens because the frequency is increasing. Well, we're dealing with that 1 degree of separation is typically coming from our root chakra. And that root chakra is because it's our anchor, right? It is holding all of the, think about it this way. If you're trying to blast off and you make blast off happen, but you have some tether because you've been sourcing your energy from someone in your field that you've outgrown. We'll just leave it at that, right? The circumstance, the dynamic, the situation, you've outgrown it. So you have to release, right? That, like, think of a hot air balloon rising. If it's tethered to the ground, it's not going to go. Well, you're such a force, especially when things happen kind of like out of the blue and whatever. It's because you boosted, right? You've all of a sudden hit this boost and you've popped one of those tethers loose. And so that feels like a wobble as you're continuing to make this rise. Well, those tethers live in our root chakra. They are rooted, especially when we're dealing with family, when we're dealing with kids, when we're dealing with partners, when we're dealing with people from our past, as we move into the new dimensional awareness of who we are. All of it is rooted in that is anchored in that root chakra, right? And so the root chakra, when we feel that big stuff happening, it's like the root chakra starts to roll around and wobble. And as it's doing its wobble, things get interrupted, whether we want them to or not. And so, again, this is not the challenge. These are the blessings and the gifts. But here's what happens when the root chakra gets triggered. It can be back issues, either fix themselves or can like come up because suddenly now you've been holding your energy in a certain way and then you have to make a shift or you get to make a shift. There's a recalibration. And so it can trigger things in the body. More particularly, what I see, and I actually, as you know, if you've been listening and you listened in about 4 weeks ago, it triggers something in our voice, in the throat, in the sinuses. And why is that? Because think about a bunch of congestion, energetic congestion rooted down there in the base of where we are. And then all of a sudden that hits the rocket fuel, it starts to surge up the body. But if it's density, think of this, here's the spine, and you've got this energy rolling up the spine out of the root. Where does it go? Our governing, it comes up and through and it rolls right on through our sinuses and our throat, right? They are responsible. So often we think about being sick with like having a cold and a virus and everything else. And sure, yeah, or a bacterial infection, yes, that can happen. But ultimately, these guys up here are responsible for flushing and clearing that root chakra. So as you release deep, heavy stuff down low, you gotta get that junk out, and the energy will come out through. Like, these are liquid, fluid, porous cells, right? Like, and so the lymphatic system, all of it is interplaying. The lymph over our spine or in our back is rolling up like this, right? And then it drops down and does a couple different things. But primarily what we're talking about today is the central and the governing meridian, which run up our back through the sinus cavity and down again through the front. So they come from the perineum, the base of the root, all the way up and through. All that energy pours through here. So now you have two major central and governing. These two run our energy field. If you are feeling exhausted in your day, it is not because the other meridians are off. It's because these two have got a slug, they've got a trip. There's something that's going on inside of them. Just think about it. They run right over as they come up the back. They run over the adrenals. Everything gets recharged and rebooted. So if you do an interrupt in your life, if you bring in a lot of really big, potent, powerful energy, you knock loose some of that density down there in the root chakra, that energy starts to rise because that force of that rocket fuel is popping it up, and boom, whew, can take us down. It can take us out. You guys heard it in me. You can still hear I've got a tiny bit of lingering, still flushing itself out because of the adjustment I just came through over the last month as well. So with that being said, this is a huge intro, but it is so important because especially when it converts to illness, it is our blessing, it is our gift, and it is what is allowing us to calibrate at our center, at our core, right? The power to be able to tap and access our core energy without those rocket boosters being attached, right? So today we're going to release the wobble. We're going to pump those central and governing meridians, get them booted with the fuel and the energy they need. Because let's face it, you've got incredible gifts. You've got incredible work that you are up to. And today, now, here as we are, this is our time. So with that, go ahead and take a nice deep breath in. Ooh, nice big exhale out. Another nice deep breath in and exhale out. And I want you to feel into the perineum, feel into your sitting bones as you're breathing in, and find that, think of it as like a ball of energy down there that is like it's not even a basketball, not quite basketball size, but think of it as like, if a ball is sitting on the surface of the water and there's a current and the ball may start spinning, right? We see this with like fountains and stuff. You'll see like the energy start to spin the ball. I want you to feel into that. It's literally, I don't know the technical name of it, but it's like it anchors us, right? Like it's not just an anchor, but it also directs our flow of energy. I want you to imagine this ball of energy is sitting down there in the root, and it's being rotated and driven by that perineum energy, that central and governing meridian. And so I want you just to feel how wobbly that base feels. Or does it feel like it blasted out and there is just debris and rubble, right? Like feel into how much of debris and rubble it feels like you have sitting in your root. And even if you've got things going and this isn't your meditation today, like check for debris and rubble. Just feel into your pelvic floor, feel into those sitting bones. The reality is, the astrology and everything else has been shifting phenomenally. So we all have some stuff that's been shaken loose, right? It's like we've been literally in the midst of energetic earthquakes for an entire at least 5-month period, but we just had a big one, another shake come through. So I want you to feel into those sitting bones and feel into that rubble. Again, just imagining it down there like a debris field sitting, big boulders piled up inside of your pelvic floor. And so as you're breathing in, just allow the breath to extend into that pelvic floor. All right. I think everybody's feeling pretty calibrated. We're going to do our light link now. And if you're new to this, we always start with the light link. We were doing just getting ourselves dialed into where we're going to be focusing today. So bringing middle finger to thumb, sending your consciousness up to the golden light of the sun, to heaven, to God, to the universe, wherever your prayers may go. Just we envision it as the Christed light, the Krishna, you name it, right? It is that golden light of heaven being celebrated on earth. And so for us, the mirror of that is the sun. That is the symbolism for it. So as you send your awareness up, just imagine gazing at the sun, licking the lips, relaxing the jaw, and allowing it to flood out your inner vision. Really take it in, like let yourself be here, present. Let your prayer right now, go ahead and send a prayer up. Let it be heard. You are meant to pray. You are meant to be in dialogue constantly. We forget to do it. Even if we're in this work full time, we forget how important the prayer is. So just send that prayer up as you feel yourself gazing at the sun. And I want to have you feel God's response, Goddess's response, the divine response from the heavenly host by envisioning a channel of light opening all the way down to your root. Imagining just as though we have hollowed out everything between the top of your mind down to that pelvic floor. And there we jump dimensionally as we envision ourselves now standing in the sun on that pile of debris inside of the root chakra. Notice how we're jumping dimensionally. We went from envisioning the energy on the pelvic floor to the light, moving into really 4D when we're working with the sun. That's fourth dimensional awareness. And now dropping in. And the moment you project yourself and you see yourself standing on that inside of your energetic field, we're going 5D. So envisioning, just feeling your feet now as you gaze out, maybe across this like cataclysmic horizon, right? Like it looks like the apocalypse. It is such a large debris field. Feel your feet. Find one stone, one big boulder that you're standing on. And maybe it's like so bizarre. You have to like crouch down while you're gazing up at the sun. And I just want you to land here for a moment. It may even look extraterrestrial. I just butchered that word, extraterrestrial. So know that we are in our earth chakra. We are now, as we make this jump, we are jumping from the root chakra into the earth chakra. Earth chakra lives as we do that dimensional jump just between the knees. If we've had a really bad trauma, it's going to pop up into the root. We do not want that. That is what causes the severe wobble of like, I am totally out of control. What's happening in my life? Earth chakra should be anchored in the earth, but it can do that. Like if you think of like, I'm going to give you kind of a painful metaphor here, like the Achilles tendon snapping, right? If the Achilles snaps, they say that's one of them, like it springs all the way up and can hit you in the hip because there's so much tension in it. Again, remember these tethers, right? We're talking about where energy is held and stored. That earth chakra can snap up into the root chakra. No bueno when that happens. So, and you can imagine how that'll cause massive trauma. So earth chakra, let's go ahead as we're doing this, imagining this cataclysm, this apocalyptic energy. We're going to allow it as we honor it and acknowledge it to just start to drop down into its natural position, right? Because what snapped it out? Again, it was that Schumann, the earth has literally been they track it, science tracks this. It has been shifting its frequency by half a degree in a degree. It has shifted almost, I could be wrong about this. I'm going to say like on the frequency scale, like 2-3 points. I don't even know what that means. It's significant. If you're interested, I can post to some people that are experts in this space. But that is like a temperature shift, right? That is like a temperature shift for us. And when we're talking things at a planetary level, it is monumental. So I want you to start dropping your awareness and consciousness in. Let yourself sink back down into those frequencies, imagining this apocalyptic field in these roots, dropping to the knees and then to the ankles and all the way down into the earth. Now, I'm going to talk you through. That's where we're going. I've given you your mind and your energy field. Really, we're working our super conscious right now. It knows how to do all of this. So just trust whatever sensations and imagery are coming through. Boom, we are going to land this right here and now, because the reason why this happened, again, primary rocket fuel does not come from the outside. It comes from you. It comes from your connection. Your soul spins up through the center of the earth, right? The earth spins its gravity. The soul comes in as part of light in the unified field, and it reaches earth and it spins up and through. It's like this spiral vortex that, like one of those inflatable things you see outside a car wash that wobbles back and forth as the air blows up into it. That's what our soul does, except it comes up and through this human body, right? The body, it becomes our avatar. When we believe that we are alone, we add on the boosters, all right? And oftentimes that's a decent thing because it's family and we think that's where we should be doing and going and how we should be supporting. But it can energetically mess us up. But the moment we start to engage the boosters, what happens, and bear with me, just keep watching. We're shifting energy as I'm giving you these descriptors. As that energy keeps settling into the field, nice deep breaths here. Keep breathing. Somebody's about to pop some energy open in the root chakra. You guys are doing awesome. Just keep the breath going while I'm talking. As that stability, as we engage the external boosters, they're there, they're attached, right? As we engage those, we draw power off of, because somehow, some way, we believed we weren't supposed to tap or carry or hold the weight. We looked to the outside to co-parent, right? To be part of a family unit, to be part, and I'm not just speaking your current life, I'm talking about our actual parents, right? Our relationship to mom and dad, our relationship to our mentors in our life, you name it. We allow our field to draw these additional boosters in so often that we lose track of where we're relying on those boosters. But the true one and only booster is your pure source of fuel. It is your God source. It is your creation power. It is not even God. Let me be clear about that. It is not you connecting to the sun. It is your soul, because you are God within. It is your soul in what is coming through the center of the earth. And that is the feminine, that is the earth mother. So what gets to happen here is everywhere, this is your prayer right now, this is what you get to call in. Everywhere you are holding the field that is not in perfect, exact alignment with your soul's God work that will bring you back to unification with God, right? Remember, rocket is going on a certain trajectory into space. We want to stay not even a half a degree off. Everything that is potentially knocking you a half a degree off, go ahead. And I want you to envision a rocket ship, and, you know, like when the space shuttle would be taking off, there'd be all of those things attached to it that were fueling it up. And then those arms would pull away from the platform, and you would start to see the smoke fuel up, right? Well, if you just blasted off and you forgot to release those tethers, guess what? That's where the wobble's coming from. Drop in, let yourself sink all the way to the bottom, because that rubble you're experiencing, it looks like another planet. It looks extraterrestrial. What does terrestrial mean? It means Earth. Extra, meaning it's just extra, right? Like you brought in extra baggage, extra weight, extra things to be carrying that is not yours. And that, whatever you just shifted in your life, boom, it popped through it, it blasted it apart. The earth, the divine mother, your soul at its full potential, it can recycle that like it's nobody's business, right? So just all you have to do right now is hand it off, say the prayer, ask for the support. And I'm going to be very clear here. This support comes from the Divine Mother. If you've got a super Christian background, then that is going to be the Holy Ghost. That is going to be the dove, the spirit that came and gave Jesus his blessing at his baptism, right? We all have different language for her. She is there nonetheless. And she is holding us, supporting us. Let the earth absorb the density because it is hers to hold. It's her job, what she came here to do. And as you do, you may just simply feel yourself slipping down like a slide through this field of rubble into anchoring, like an anchor dropping down through the depths of the ocean, finding purchase at the bottom. And as you say yes to your soul and the true power that your soul is here to hold and embrace, that anchor is going to drop in. You're going to feel almost, let's just go for the literal interpretation, like a fuel line being married up with a new level of power. And as you imagine, let's go with like an oil pump, right? An oil rig attaching into the earth. As you imagine that, everything just drops through, and suddenly there is this beautiful light at the center rising up that you can maybe see down there in the depths. Go ahead and grab onto those as they reach from the depths, multiple cords and strands of light, and just start anchoring yourself in. Maybe you imagine just tying one knot. Maybe you imagine it like two parts coming together, two massive hoses coming together. However you want to slip yourself into this energy, to anchor it in purely to this new tether. Again, the frequency is shifted. When the earth's frequency shifts, it means our tether shifts. Finding this new center. And the moment you lock into that, all you may be seeing, especially if you're more of a sensation than a visual person, all you may be seeing is a little spark of white light, but in your root, in your hips, in your core, you're going to start to feel this surge of energy like it is nobody's business. And all around you, think of that air guy that's blowing up outside the car wash, right? Let yourself feel the wobble through the hips, right? As this power starts to rise up, but feel how deeply rooted in the earth you are. And so now anchoring one foot, go ahead back to standing on top of that boulder, but now you are standing on the crystal quartz. I want to see my Supermans and Superwomans raising a fist in the air as you feel that power surging up through your feet. And then arm up as that crystal quartz blasts, like raise both arms up as that blasts through your body, up and out the hands, and feel the surge rise with each breath, charging up the spine through the neck. The neck is where our traumas get stored and processed and send the signal to the brain. So let it just blast out whatever trauma signaling is in there that would cause you to wobble for other reasons. That's like having the wrong command center, the wrong throttle in the rocket ship up in the neck. So just let all of that get blasted out. Ooh, take a breath, sit back, relax. I want you to just feel this beautiful light coming up into the mind, as though you've suddenly entered the most exquisite spa or tropical paradise. I know this was a big jump, but my loves, we just brought the earth chakra all the way up to the mind, but it's rooted in the earth. Suddenly you have just cleared the pipes The moment, keep looking for it, especially if you're not visual. You may just feel total melting and sensation and calm. But the reason why we are just instantly shifting to a tropical paradise, and again, focus on the light if it's not there yet. It may be the sounds. Okay, I'm going to slow us down because I went pretty fast there. I want you to feel for the sounds of the heartbeat of the earth, the sound of a wave crashing on the shore and its rhythm. This stuff's so exciting that I like to go fast through it sometimes. Find that wave. Let yourself feel the rise and the fall deep within your energy field. As at that deep, deep layer, that earth chakra now no longer snapped up into the root between the knees, between the ankles, but anchored deep within the earth. At the core, your soul's home base. Ebbing and flowing, no longer cataclysmic blasts, but just a natural, like a geyser, rolling up and through the fields. And as you find those waves, the sound of it, maybe you find now the sound of a waterfall. And this waterfall is in the reverse direction, right? We envision the waterfall as we know it on Earth, gravity drawing the water down. This is reverse gravity because we just inverted the fields. So the waterfall is that pure source energy, that pure rocket fuel falling up and into your system. The mind becomes placid. The surface upon which that luminescent light, that energy of your soul, your God source is landing. Again, reverse order, upside down waterfall. As your mind just settles and stills and feels the calm. Feels the light, maybe a lot of darkness here in the mind's eye. That's totally perfect because we just flipped the field. We create with both dark and light. We cannot create without the darkness. So whatever the challenges are that you have been moving through, congratulations. You did it. And notice how those central and governing meridians now, they don't even need to be running this energy up and through because it's actually coming up through your caduceus, through the kundalini. So just let them start to be filled as though that waterfall is creating its own little diversions, and you can feel those central and governing meridians. You may be getting a lot of coughing right now because I'm feeling it coming up and through, flushing the remainder of the junk. Oh man, the heartache in our heart chakra, a lot of debris there, right? It's flushing, excuse me, all of it through, all of it. Let it carry it out, flush it out the field. And then from within, let this energy rise up and just power wash out the sinuses all the way through. And as it does, we feel the congestion in the mind releasing, the density in the mind. Again, reverse order. Like we know, like our sinuses are like a sponge, but imagine the congestion in the brain. If it's gotten so backed up that the sinuses are congested, imagine what the brain looks like. So just let it get a pure flush of this geyser-like energy, just flushing it through, but gentle and easily. Divine grace. Slowly draining out. Slowly, we begin to see through the top of the mind an unclogging. Yeah, sure, maybe it looks like snot and gross stuff, but it's unclogging. Debris coming out of the top of the mind, out the sides, just above the ear. We have nadi chakra points up there. You guys are getting a full system flush today. And in a moment, it's going to be, I'm going to go gross, right? Like some big phlegm is just going to pop out of the top of the mind. Not dissimilar. Again, going gross, but we're doing like a inverted reverse birth here. And this is big. Astrologically, this fits for everyone, whether you have actually experienced the trauma or not. You know, when a baby is born, there is a plug that releases, not even the water breaking, but there's a plug that releases. It's almost like you are birthing a new version of yourself, and the mind is releasing that plug. So go ahead and just imagine pulling a cotton ball out of the top, right? A big cotton ball plug out of the top of your mind. And as you do, I want you to feel a new set of vision, as though like a screen, a veil is reverse being lifted, like as though we're reaching in to the throat, grabbing that blind, and we're opening it, but it's opening from the bottom up. It's as though we're lifting the veil, and then like a tissue, or I'm actually seeing a silk magician's little scarf, just flitting it out to the air and allowing the light to flood in to your inner eye. Feeling that bright spark centered in your pineal gland, like a spotlight, or even better, like a lighthouse, spinning 360 degrees around. New vision, new light, new love. Notice the calm in your body, the presence. Go ahead and call up that ocean and that tropical garden. That dimension, for those of you that are more technical, that dimension that we passed through is actually our connection point between the soul and the cellular, molecular level. So when we hover on that, it looks like a tropical oasis. That's when our mind imagines that transfer point between energy and molecular and physical. It looks like a tropical oasis. So no wonder it showed up as we run this earth chakra all the way through. Our earth chakra also looks like that tropical oasis because it governs that connection point between the etheric and the physical. And go ahead, and I want you to feel like that ball of energy that we started, the basketball of energy. You probably can't even feel it in the root chakra now. It's probably, yeah, it's down at the center. So like this tickling, kind of like when your feet are asleep, but you sort of can sense something down there, a tickling down at the center of the earth. Oh, and just roll your neck. Release all that energy out through the field. Roll the shoulders. Stretch the arms up, nice big stretch, twist through the core, rotate on the spine from the left all the way, and then around to the right. Open the arms, stretch them back, opening the shoulder blades, even try and pop the elbows together behind you. Neck up, chin slightly elevated. Roll the shoulders, and we're going to do a quick manifesting. We're going to allow you to hit the third eye. I want you to envision a spark of rocket fuel coming up from that base down at the center of the earth, igniting, blasting off, and blasting through, hitting your third eye. In 3, 2, 1, go. Nice breath. Squeeze through the body. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Oh, and release. Go ahead and do that a couple more times. Nice deep breath in all the way to the center of the earth. Squeeze, feel that pulse of energy coming up and through. Squeeze against the root, squeeze against the kidneys, squeeze against the heart, squeeze against the throat. Squeeze your mind and release. Beautiful job, my loves. You are centered. Notice the field. I want you to observe the field around you. There is all this chaos all around. Little stars, sparks, kinetic energy. And yet, here we are at the center, manifesting the impossible. What we just did for other times in the evolution of human consciousness would have been impossible. You are the future. Don't underestimate the gifts in the hand of God as you are navigated on this incredible journey, as your heart continues to say yes to your light and your love and that creation power within. With that, namaste. So much love. Bye.